Kalalau Malak Yahweh, Wa Yahushai, Bahashem, Raha, Quadash, and double honors to the elders of GMS Ruel, blessings unto those men, and blessings and salutations to the Akim out there in truth, pushing his word in all sincerity and in honesty. With that being said, Shalom Israel Barakatah, today's lesson, in the perfect balance of the Lord. And when it comes to the perfect balance of the Lord, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushai, the scripture of Proverbs 11:1 has said, a false balance is abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. So in the perfect balance of the Lord, it is a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. And that is found upon the scripture of 2 Thessalonians 1:6. Let's go over to that scripture. Here we have that scripture of 2 Thessalonians 1:6. Seeing it is a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. Right, everything that the heathen nations have done unto the true sons of Israel shall come back upon them in that perfection of balance. That is the perfect righteous balance of the Lord Yahweh Wa Yahushai. The same ill treatment shall be shown unto those that have shown no mercy once the tables are turned, especially unto the entire nation of Edom, for all they have done unto true Israel. That's why the scripture of James 2:13 has said, for he shall have judgment without mercy that has showed no mercy, and mercy rejoices against judgment. You see? And in due time, the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai shall give the heathen nations as property unto true Israel. With that being said, let's go over to that scripture of Psalms 2:8. Psalms 2:8. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. And the definition of inheritance means a thing that is inherited, whether it is land and possession, an estate, or even people. That is Israel's birthright, which means a particular right of possession or privilege one has from birth. Right, especially when it comes to that firstborn child, the right of the firstborn, as it says in the scripture of Deuteronomy 21:15 through 17. True Israel, which consists of so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, shall inherit the heathen nations. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. True Israel served all the heathen nations of this earth in captivity, so by the perfect will and balance of the Lord, Yahweh Wa Yahushai, they shall all serve the true nation of Israel in the one of all things. The uttermost parts of the earth shall be given unto the Israelites as possession. And the earth was created for our sakes, according to the scripture of 2 Ezra 6:59. And when it's all said and done, the true nation of Israel shall possess both bondmen and bondmaids of the heathen. So in other words, of buying and selling men and women of the heathen nations for the benefit of Israel. They shall be a possession unto the nation of Israel. Remember that throughout the course of history, throughout the course of Israel's captivity, true Israel's captivity, these heathen nations have benefited of true Israel in all ways. Even these Edomite companies have benefited from their inventions. And just look at their predecessors that made up Citibank, Bank of America, and Wells Fargo, for instance, just to name a few. They are among a list of well-known U.S. financial firms that benefited from the slave trade. That's why when it came to the slave trade, many said, "Blessed be the Lord, for I am rich." And that is found upon the scripture of Zechariah 11:5. Let's go over to that scripture. Here we have that scripture of Zechariah 11:5, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty, and they that sell them say, Blessed be the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. You see? That's one of the reasons why their families, along with their children, prospered. But through the righteous balance of the Lord, Yahweh wa Yahushai, the table shall be turned. Slavery never ended. Biblical scripture has said that we are yet to stay in captivity. Now, when it comes to that Emancipation Proclamation of President Abraham Lincoln, that was issued on January 1st of 1863, that never changed a thing. That never changed anything. And even though the proclamation declared that all persons held as slaves within the rebellious states are and henceforth shall be free, in reality, nothing changed. But in reality, those slaves were never set free because they were handed over from one slave master unto another slave master. What they did was they took the slaves from the southern states and handed them over to the northern states of D.C. So nothing changed. They never set the so-called Negroes free, because if they did, they would have returned them to their original native land of Israel. But now the time draws near when all they that have devoured shall be devoured, according to the scripture of Jeremiah 30 and verse 16. Let's go over to that scripture. Jeremiah 30 and verse 16. Therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity, and they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. Right, the scripture of Ecclesiastes 3 and 15 says that the Lord, Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai, required that which is past. Slavery is a thing of the past, so therefore every single one of them that has devoured and that has said, Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance, shall all be devoured. They shall all drink of the cup of slavery. They that have devoured so-called Negroes, Latinos, Tainos, and Native American Indians shall be devoured, according to the scripture of Jeremiah 30 and verse 16. And when it comes to the scripture of Obadiah 1 and 15, it does say, As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Let's go over to that scripture as well. Obadiah 1 and 15. For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. Right. Upon all the heathen. Meaning upon all the nations that had so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians in captivity. All nations have devoured the true children of Israel. So by the perfect balance of the Lord, Yahweh wa Yahushai, the heathen shall all serve slavery. That's why the scripture of Isaiah 14 and 2 goes on to say, And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. You see? So the time cometh when true Israel, which consists of so-called Negroes, Latinos, Tainos, and Native American Indians, shall rule over their oppressors. Right, they shall rule over their oppressors. That scripture of Isaiah 14:2 proves that we are yet to stay in captivity, because Israelites are not as of yet ruling over their oppressors, and they are not in their native land today. The ones that are in that native land are those small hats. And that scripture of Isaiah 14:2 is also a near future prophecy that shall take place. We are yet this day in captivity. That's why your so-called Negroes today are picking cotton in state prisons as of today. It's all been masked under their modern day laws. But when it's all said and done, all those curses that are on true Israel shall be placed upon them. It shall be flipped upon them, especially upon those enemies of Edom, all the nation of Edom. All of these curses shall be flipped upon the enemies of true Israel. With that being said, let's go over to Deuteronomy 30 and verse 7. Deuteronomy 30 and verse 7. And the Lord, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, thy power, will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. All of Israel's curses shall be placed on the enemies of true Israel, especially upon the nation of Esau, Edom, who touched the apple of the Lord's eye, which is true Israel. And as soon as that power is transferred, the scripture of Psalms 2:9 has said that they shall be broken with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. You see? And that 1,000 years of slavery is going to go so slow that it's going to seem like 2,000 years. And this is the perfect will and balance of the Lord. The Lord required that which has passed. And what has passed and still remains is slavery. But with that being said, Kaulalao Malak Yahweh, Wa Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachak, Wadash, and double honors to the elders of GMS Ruel, blessings unto those men, and blessings and salutations to the Akim out there in truth, pushing his word in all sincerity and in honesty. With that being said, Shalom Israel, Brakta. Shalom.